Hi everyone and welcome to my channel, the Heal Thyself Network. My name is Jeanette. I'm an alkaline health coach and regenerative detoxification specialist and iridologist. And I just thought I would come to you today to talk about how to understand and handle pain when it arises and even just as it arises throughout your life. Understanding from an alkaline acid standpoint could be helpful for you. So I thought that I would come at you from that angle, since that is my specialty. And yeah, I had quite the experience recently that I wanted to share with you all. I was mostly eating a lot of cooked food. I had kind of totally gone off the detox program, and I was eating, just mostly cooked. I would have a little bit of salad every day, but, very low on the fruits and very low on the on the raw vegetables. So I was, experiencing a little bit of like dull stiffness in my cervical spine region. And as an iridologist, and after doing my own iris analysis, I have discovered genetic weakness in the neck and in the jaw joint as well. So these cells are already compromised. And then eating a very acidic diet, I was even enjoying quite a lot of decaf coffee. Of course, I get the Swiss water decaf, so there's no chemicals used to withdraw the caffeine from the beans, but it's still, I assume, quite acidic. I have taken the measure of mixing my alkaline 7x7 tea. I have the loose form. These are the tea bags here. But I have the loose, and I use a French press. So when I have my coffee, I try to kind of alkalize it by putting, one part of the alkaline tea to one part of the coffee beans, the ground coffee beans. So, but anyways, aside from, these little attempts to try to neutralize some acidity in my body, I was feeling, because, with acids, you can feel them. They actually sit there and they literally burn. They're also quite dehydrating in chemistry. So they're agglomulated. They stick everything together. So that's why all like the stiffnesses and the pains in the body is usually acids and toxins. Toxins are seen by the body as acids anyhow, so we'll just use acids in today's video just for clarity. But yeah, so I was just having this little bit of dull stiffness. In order to combat any sort of physical pains, what I've learned to do is to sit a lot in silent meditation. I personally practice Vipassana, but any sort of meditation would help to calm the nervous system, and anyone who's susceptible to pain in their body, it would lower your resistance against the pain. That actually amplifies the pain. That's what I learned from sitting in a 10-day silent retreat. By day 5, the pain that I had entered the retreat with was completely gone. And toward the end, when we all do start talking again, I discovered from a lot of other individuals that they too had experienced the same relief. They were able to, a lot of them, to go off their anti-inflammatory medications and things like that. So it's pretty profound how when you sit with yourself and you experience what you're feeling and you experience the reality of the moment, in your body and within the energy of your own body, and feeling into that the mind stops to really resist the pain. So that's the biggest relief you can have, is by using the calming of the nervous system to alleviate the physical pains and tensions. Another thing that aligns with that as well is to, I had another point here. Where was I going with this? Oh yes, is to use, most people are familiar with using cannabis for chronic pain. Of course, it's been legalized here in Canada now, and that is because cannabis actually is a neurosuppressant. So it lowers your nervous system functioning so that you're not so, that's why it works for pain. You're not so irritated by the pain, which makes the tension a lot worse. The mental tension makes the physical pain and tension like I said before, amplified. So that's how cannabis works. And this week, so basically what happened was, long story short, I induced a detox reaction within my own body. And this happened because I was eating a lot of cooked, like I said, and I was trying on some old clothes, you know, it's going to be nicer weather soon, and they were fitting quite tight. And I'm not going to lie, it was a lot to do with my own personal vanity, which, you know, I think we all struggle with, especially women. And I said, oh, I would really like to fit into these short shorts, you know. I could feel like my waist is a little bit more inflamed, you know, that's your whole GI tract there from eating all the cooked food, which is inflammatory. Acids in chemistry are hot, inflammatory, corrosive. And then we actually use a lot of water to neutralize those acids. The body's intelligent. So then there's a lot of water retention as well. So it kind of sparked my, you know, motivation to start introducing more fruit. So I was introducing a little bit more fruit. I would have like, you know, half a day where I would just eat fruit some days. And, but then I got into these, you might've seen some of my posts. I was posting these banana pancakes, and it's just mashed bananas with a little bit of ground oats. And I make sure to get the gluten-free oats, of course. And then you can fry that in coconut oil. So I wasn't completely doing like a full fruit fast or anything. I would have these pancakes now and then. But then I started doing some more Iyengar yoga. I found my friend Rita Jean's new YouTube channel, and she's a lifelong practitioner of my favorite style of yoga that completely decompresses the spine. And coming from the genetic weaknesses that I come from, you know, Iyengar has helped me tremendously. And I know a lot of senior teachers who never did anything to their diet. They didn't, you know, they ate what they thought was relatively healthy, but, you know, they weren't anywhere near as extreme as I have gone with the fasting and the fruit fasting and things like that. And they attribute Iyengar yoga to, you know, keeping them with such a healthy, strong structure all of their life into older age. So they said that it kept all ailments at bay. So I'm such a believer in this style of yoga. I will put a link below for any of you who are interested. But I did 2 of these classes, okay? And they were like, you know, I did one and took a day off, and then I did another because they're really hard for me. They're very challenging. You're working a lot of muscles that you don't normally work. And essentially you're using your legs, the strength of your legs, and also your arms to really access the spinal cord, which again, the nervous system, the spine, these are areas of great interest for me on my personal healing journey. And I'm still healing from a lot of issues around, you know, nervousness, anxiety. This is the adrenal connection to the autonomic nervous system. And so this is all connected. The adrenals sit up top, the kidneys, you know, right close to the spinal region there. So it's all connected, guys. You know, I know some people might think that we're oversimplifying health when we speak like this, but really I think that health, it should be simple. I think that, you know, we are all entitled to vitality and full optimal health. So yeah, it's great to share with you guys about this. So I did those classes, okay, and I don't know what I released, you know, between all the twists and the massaging of the organs and the lengthening and decompressing of the spine. Who knows what acids were released during this? And I remember too, one of those evenings I said, that's it, I'm going to skip dinner. And again, the motivation tends to come from the clothing starting to fit a little tight, but wherever it comes from, at least it's from a good place because it does encourage healing. So I try not to get down on myself too much and just notice these afflicted mental states and just know that we can heal the vanity. We don't need that anymore, guys. Obviously, there's something to be said about, you know, looking nice and presenting yourself beautifully to play up your own assets and things. And if that gives you pleasure, then I say go for it. But there's a fine line between vanity and, you know, trying to look our best. So I'm learning that as well as part of some of the emotional healing I'm doing, spiritual healing. But yeah, so I skipped dinner. I ate dinner at, okay, so I didn't skip dinner. I ate dinner. This is the luxurious mentality I've been having, you know, quite privileged, I would say, to say that I'm skipping dinner when, you know, it's a meal at 6 p.m. That means that I was also eating a lot later in the night, and that's not very healthy. So, okay, let's say I had my dinner at 6 p.m. and then I just said, that's it. You know, I don't feel hungry. You know, if I ate, it would just be an emotional occurrence, an emotional event, and there's no reason for it. Let's see if I could just go a little bit in a healthy way without some food and just and enjoy myself. So I ended up wanting to go out for a walk. I had all this energy after the Iyengar class, and I walked, and I had my big parka on because it's still cold here in Toronto, and I remember I started sweating. And I could feel like I had a scarf in the park, and on the walk, I wanted to, like, you know, open the jacket, take the scarf off and get some relief. And I thought, okay, you could deal with a little discomfort, Jeanette. It's not a big deal. You'll be home soon. And anyhow, sweating is very, very good. If you can't sweat, that's an issue actually with the thyroid gland. So actually sweating shows that you have quite a healthy endocrine system, and your skin being your third organ, your third kidney, excuse me, your largest eliminative organ, you know, you want to encourage it to sweat. So I came home, I had a nice shower, and little did I know that all of these seemingly small occurrences would result in detoxification. So next thing you know, I'm waking up the next morning, severe neck pain, like not even able to do anything. That's how bad it was. Had to lie in bed all day, you know. It was really severe. So now I'm comfortable with this because, see, coming from chronic pain in my past after a C-spine injury and already having those underlying weaknesses, you know, I've experienced a lot of this. So now I'm able to coach myself in a really healthy way. You know, I just say, okay, this too shall pass. You know, just like anything uncomfortable what we're going through in the world right now with the COVID, you know, this too shall pass, guys. We have to always keep that in mind. You know, I've been here before, I've had pain, and then I get free of it. You know, so I had to hold that hope within me. And of course, you know, I'm not going to just sulk around and be a victim and, you know, not do anything about it. My inner healer, you know, the nurse Jeanette version of myself, immediately ups my herbal medicine. So I have here to show you, it's kind of hilarious. It's just like a recycled bottle I use, and I take all my herbal tinctures and I put them all into one big bottle. And then every time I use my herbal medicine, I take 2 lidfuls in a little bit of cold water. And then I chase that down with cold water because these taste pretty horrendous. Of course, you get used to it like anything, you know, after you've used it for a while, but these herbs are specifically the Masterfast system herbs, and I'll put a link below. They have beautiful formula, very, very beautiful formulas, very similar to Dr. Robert Morse's formulas, but they're local and a lot easier to access, and yeah, really, really beautiful combinations. So what I did was I right away started taking the herbs. And the herbs, what they do is, I just believe that they're put here on this earth for us to heal. They just go through your body and they find anything foreign, anything like that the body doesn't want, any harmful substance, and removes it out. So, and in the meantime, I believe that they strengthen, you know, all of your organs, tissues, and glands. So I right away started up on that. I reduced how much I would normally eat, even though I still did eat that day. I wasn't completely ready. You know, I had done that 24-hour fast I mentioned earlier where I had my dinner at 6. Oh, I forgot to finish this point. Luckily, I circled back. And then I didn't eat till 6 the next day. I believe that was a big part on bringing in the detox reaction, you know, combined with the sweating and the Iyengar yoga, you know, and plus I was doing a lot of fruit juices too. I remember I was buying the freshly squeezed orange juice at the local grocery store, and I was just drinking like a lot more than normal. So all of this alkalinity was coming in and hydrating. And then with the massaging of the organs and the glands through the Iyengar practice, and the walking, you know, moving your lymph, because your lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. You have to actually, it works more muscular. You have to actually move in order for it to move. So that walk I went on, you know, where it was cold and I was sweating. Then the cold is so alkaline. So hot is acid, cold is alkaline. That's why, you know, the Wim Hof, he's a famous, you know, teacher, lecturer, athlete. He goes under the ice water and he can hold his breath for really long durations. It's just very full of vitality. They use a lot of cold to heal, you know. So cold brings on a detox reaction. You could have expectoration, you could have a lot of mucus coming up, hence colds and flu season. You know, it always comes when the weather is cold. This is the body cleaning out, because an alkaline state of chemistry is a hydrated state of chemistry. So it starts to move a lot of waste out. Whereas when you're in a more acidic state, everything's locked in, everything's stagnant, you know, and you might have little symptoms of poor health, but until you get into a real detox mode, you really won't suffer a lot. You won't really know what's going on under the surface until something like pretty severe happens. And yeah, similar to the neck pain that I experienced in upper back pain, it was so bad, guys. I immediately started to vape. I would vape cannabis, and I would keep a really healthy mindset. Again, you know, very important. This too shall pass. Do things that are fun, creative. You know, even though I'm lying in the bed, I'm able to work on my phone and look at, you know, different social media outlets and write some notes. I was journaling. I mean, it's not easy when you're suffering like that, but you have to have a good outlook. You have to understand that that affects your alkalinity as well. If you're in a very negative state, it's a very acidic state. So you're gonna actually amplify the pain. So you really want to try to be free from that. And that's why I discussed the meditation that I did earlier in this video. The other thing that I do is, because I don't want to do too much, I don't want to take too much of the cannabis because it is a neurosuppressant. And like I said earlier, like some of us need our nervous systems, right, guys? So I've had it where I've consumed too much and then I don't feel like doing anything at all. Like I don't even want to get up from bed. So just be very careful, because when the nervous system is shut down, some really crazy stuff can go on. You could even have, I don't know if any of you have ever experienced it, where you think that you're awake. You can see everything from your bed, like you can see your room and stuff, but you can't move your body. So you are still like in a dream state, but I don't know if your eyes are open during this, and that's why I could, because of course happened to me, so I could see the room. Some people were blaming it on hitchhikers and different entities who've latched on, but I know my body pretty well. And in this event, it was definitely too much cannabis when I experienced that. And then it was like my nervous system took really long to wake up so that I could move my body, because I guess when you're sleeping, everything's just shut down, right? So instead of having too much cannabis, I use this Kava Kava nectar. I don't know if you can see. Anyways, I'll put the link below. It's an amazing product. We don't have anything like it here. I have to order it from the States. It's a CO2 extract of Kava Kava. Kava Kava is a wonderful herb for people who like marijuana. You know, it's very similar, but it doesn't have quite that suppressing, to the nervous system. Although we do want some of that for pain, because we do know that it is it's the resistance, the mental resistance of the pain that is making the pain worse. So, you know, you can balance it out yourself. You have to learn your own dosing. Edibles are actually much better, much healthier than vaping, or smoking for that matter. Vaping would be healthier than smoking, but edibles, you know, you're not putting anything into these beautiful lung tissues, which is ideal. So just try to think about, you know, experiencing more of a body relief than a high, right? Because we're really not using these medicines to get high. We're using them as the medicines that they are, to help alleviate a lot of these physical pains and tensions. The other thing that I found very useful, so I just want you all to know too, before I show you this beautiful product, it's only been 3 days and I feel like I'm almost 100%. So the healing, you know, from where I came from with living in this for months at a time. I remember I suffered for 8 months after a car accident. I didn't know what to do for the pain, you know, it was like I couldn't heal myself. It's literally day 3 and it's like, I would say 80% improved. So I hope this helps you guys. Something else that I use in my little kit is my healing kit during this crazy time is the Voice Box Spray by Cellular Botanicals, Dr. Morris's product line. In this is a few different beautiful herbs: slippery elm, thyme, comfrey, and mullein, and some raw honey and vegetable glycerin. So it actually tastes really good. And what you do is you just spray it to the back of your throat. So if you are like me and you get any neck, this is the throat chakra. So this product's particularly important for this area of the body. And all of these beautiful herbs were specifically chosen to help expectoration and all different things when people have sore throat or upper respiratory or things like that. And for me, it just made sense. Why wouldn't I nourish the cells, right, that are in this region? Because it's connected front and back, right? So I would do a few of those squirts at the back of my throat, morning and night. But you can be more generous as well. There's no harm in taking the herbs. If anything, they just help you to detoxify and strengthen even more. What else, guys? So yeah, I went up into I'm so lucky I have a yoga room, and I have all these like massage balls and different like acupuncture pads, acupressure pad. I could put the link below. It's amazing. You lie on it, or wherever the pain is, you put that area of your body on it, and it's like little pins, but it's actually just a plastic kind of prickly. You might have seen what I'm talking about. Anyways, I laid on that, and that brought a lot of circulation, I felt, and really supported the healing. And then this morning, because there's still a little bit, it's like, I believe it was the lower scapula muscles. I'm working new muscles with the Iyengar Yoga too. And a lot was also being released from the spine, a lot of acidity in that region. So I just thought, why wouldn't I take the massage ball to those tense muscles, right? And you have to kind of maneuver around. You really want to make sure your head is supported when you're using those acupressure balls, especially if you're dealing with any neck or jaw pain, because you wouldn't want to throw anything off alignment there. A lot of the time when we're suffering, we could just go see a chiropractor and they just make an adjustment to the head. The head was off a little, and you have such amazing relief. With yoga, a lot of chiropractors don't like us yogis because they say we take their job away, because you're doing that decompression yourself. But yeah, I really believe in seeing a chiropractor if you're not able to have a yoga practice. And yeah, with the massage ball, if you go along both sides of the spine, these are your neurolymphatic points. So we usually would ask a friend or family member to go in a clockwise direction using our thumbs all the way down the spine. Never go counterclockwise, because that'll actually weaken the cells. But if you go clockwise, it strengthens, it helps to detox. It's moving a lot of the lymph from the channel from the head all the way down the spine, down through the kidneys and out through the bladder and colon. Or if you sweat them out, of course. So this is just encouraging the detoxification and assisting it So that when you go with the ball, like if you had any areas of the spine that were compressed, they start to actually release. I noticed when I was using the ball along the, especially the left side where I was having a lot more of the pain, I could hear like my spine make like little cracks, and I'm working on the muscle. So it's so interesting how that's helping the spinal alignment just by easing the muscle, giving it that nice massage. Of course, I do some other really privileged things, like I jump on a beautiful Bellicon trampoline. I can link below, but I just do like what I call like a health bounce when I'm in like a lot of pain like that. Like the first day, I barely bounced. Yesterday I was able to bounce a little bit more, and today I feel a lot of improvement. So I'm able to bounce more fully, but just for 10 minutes, just get the lymph moving. Like it's nothing too crazy. And rest. So there's a really fine line in being between being active and being needing of rest. And only you will know what you need right now for that. For me, if it's like really bad pain, I know right away. Just stop everything. Just rest. But for some people, and even for myself sometimes, we have to ask ourselves, oh, am I just being sluggish today? Do I just need that little push to go out and move my body, whether it be a long walk or just a moderate amount of activity just to get the body, the flow going? Because when we go too crazy with anaerobic activity, we create a lot more acid. So we wouldn't want to be working out when we're in a state of suffering. You could do small, really nice things for the spine, like yoga and plank pose and things like that. But you wouldn't want to be going too crazy. So yeah, just that fine line. Just ask yourself: is it a day where I have to push myself because I know that if I push myself, I'm going to feel better after? Or is it a day where it's like debilitating, discomfort and pain, and you should just, take it easy? So that's something that you could all do and just coach yourself in that way. So yeah, in the past for this kind of pain, what really helped me is sound healings, sound baths. So what's neat is for some people who don't really love to meditate, you can, you're kind of involved in something, like there's some other mind activity that can take place, which is just taking in the sounds. So you could have something to listen to while you're actually meditating, which can be really nice. Guided meditations are like that as well. And you'll get the similar healing as just a seated silent meditation, a body scan or something like that. So if it's a little hard for you to meditate, you could do sound baths. I find them just so beautiful. You can feel really into every area of the body. Do the body scan while you're listening to the sound path, and really just go bit by bit, piece by piece throughout your whole body. And if you feel tension, you could just say tension, 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 without making it such a big ordeal. Like, oh my God, there's pain, there's tension, and then the mind resisting, and then you wanting to run away from it or, numb yourself to not feel it. Well, part of the reason for it being there is that it wants to be felt so that it can be transmuted, so you can get relief that way. A yoga nidra is a very beautiful body scan that they say if you stay awake during the whole yoga nidra, it's like a guided meditation of a body scan. If you stay completely awake, I think it's like 30 minutes, 40 minutes long, depending on which one you're doing. And I'll include my favorite yoga nidra teacher, a link for Xenia. She's an amazing senior teacher in yoga nidra. If you stay awake through it, it's like you've slept deep sleep for 3 hours. 3 hours of your deepest, most restful sleep. So even though it was only maybe 30 or 40 minutes long. So that is very important for healing as well. Oh, and yin yoga, because I was talking about people who can't really meditate. Well, if you do a yin yoga class, you know, you're putting your body in certain poses, but then you're holding them for a very long time. So it is a form of meditation as well. So that would be very, very helpful if you're experiencing any sort of pain or any sort of health issue. I mean, ultimately, I've been focusing on the pain because that's what I've been going through this week. And that was on my mind. And I felt passionate that I wanted to talk to you all about it. But really, any health problem, any physical suffering, you can do all of these things that I'm discussing that I've done for the pain and find a lot of relief. You know, in the past too, I used to do, so I believed that the pain was a lot to do with like deep emotional, like negative emotions that were stored in the cells. And we know that, like I said before, like any trauma, fear, anger, resentment, these are all very acidic, you know, ways of thinking. And they just create a lot of stagnation in the body. So with that in mind, I thought, you know, maybe I will do some experiments with psilocybin mushrooms, so magic mushrooms. But as like, you know, a mature adult, of course, we all have our days, or some of us don't, some of us do, where we, you know, maybe use these medicines more for a high or as an escape, let's say, from reality. But after all of the research that I've read that have been conducted in real scientific experiments, you know, on LSD and psilocybin, I thought, you know what, maybe this could help me right now. So in the past, you know, I would take like quite a lot, like a big dose. For me, a big dose would be like, I don't know, like a gram or two. I mean, if I take a micro dose, like I grind the mushrooms up into a fine powder and I take like this, like nothing, I still feel it. I believe they have a profound effect on the brain and the nervous system, and helping to promote, you know, the gamma waves and just like the feel good kind of, mindset. So microdosing can be used for depression and things like that for that reason. But I used to take like quite a lot. For me, enough where I would go into a whole thing, and I would be prepared to just lie down, succumb to the medicine, and feel whatever it is that it's bringing up for me. And every single time, not that I did it so many times, I'm acting like I did it so many times. You know, I think I did it like 3 times. Every time without fail, I would curl up in a ball. You know, in my yoga room, I have the mats, the blankets, and I would just feel all of these old, you know, pains and negative emotions that I never wanted to feel. And I would just like go right into them and just like start crying and just experiencing the whole thing. And something my spiritual teacher, Ross, some of you might know from some other videos that I've put out there, something he told me is like, he goes, Jeanette, if you have a cry, you have a cry. He goes, it's just like going to the bathroom number 2, you know, you're just, it's not like you're going to hover over it. Oh, where did that come from? What was that? You know, you just flush it down. So it's been really, that advice has been really, really helpful. And those experiences, I think, were very helpful. I remember having physical pain, probably in the neck or jaw. It's usually where it arises for me, and saying, okay, this must be an emotional thing, because it wasn't like this week where, you know, I did some fasting, I brought some more fruits in, hydration, and I kind of brought on a detox in my own way. In the past, you know, I remember the pain arising and me being like, okay, there's no reason for this. Like, other than emotional causes. It's not like anything in my diet's changed. You know, I was probably on like my detox program because I was a pretty disciplined, you know, fruitarian, raw vegan, you know, faster for like 5 years until just last year when I went on a different path a little bit with going more inward with the emotional healing and stuff, and not working on it so much through the diet. But yeah, it was, nothing had brought it on. So I said, it's very important that I go into these emotions. And sure enough, right after the mushroom trip, or whatever you want to call it, was done, I was 100% healed. And it even made me think about, you know, sitting with some magic mushrooms this week in a bit of a higher dose when this happened. But I thought, no, I brought this on as a detox. Yeah, I didn't feel like I wanted to go. It's hard, you know, try it. You take a bigger dose of mushrooms on your own and tell me what happens, you know, if you're willing and you ask the medicine to please show you what it is that you need to see so that you can heal. I'd be very surprised if you know, weren't curled up in a ball for a good portion of the experience and just purging out a lot emotionally. So last but not least, there's a few other things that I did. Save the best for last. Just kidding. This is the Elderberry Syrup by Harmonic Arts. So just taking little shots of this throughout my day. Elderberries are antiviral. They have an amazing detoxification effect, and any berries are amazing for the nervous system, the brain. So yeah, I was doing a lot of that. Of course, I need a quick remedy. So I have this, I don't know if you can see it, it's a bit bright, pain relief topical spray, Cirasil. I'll see if I can put a link for this one. It's incredible. It's just like this kind of menthol camphor, like really natural eucalyptus, but you put it on and it's like that cooling, you know, the way, but it's natural. So it's not like those, I don't know, I don't use any of those traditional ones from the pharmacy. For the anxiety, because, you know, I'm like anxious, I don't want to be in pain, you know, that's natural. The mind's going to go there. To deal with that, I would just use a little bit of the Moonshine Yarrow, which is a flower essence by Running Fox Farms, and it's just very good for any sort of nervous energy. It works on your emotional body specifically. Some of my clients have said, oh, I don't really feel it working. When it comes to flower essences, you don't really like notice it so immediately, but it's working in the background. That's how I kind of explain it. It's working on the emotional body. So it is working. Some people, they could drink like the whole thing and then they'll get an immediate effect because they maybe, you know, needed a really heavy dose. It'd be non-harmful to drink the whole thing. It's just in some brandy. It's these essences from these specific flowers. So that's, I think, their proprietary blend to just calm any sort of, yeah, just really anxious energy. And what else did I have? Oh my gosh, this has been such a lifesaver. Mira Vera. I'll put a link below. This is an oxygen spray with essential oils by Dr. Jean, my original teacher from 2011 in Germany. He got me on the alkaline-acid balance way back then. And it's just very oxygenating, like for the cells, to spray it directly on the area that you feel the pain, and it'll go in there. And you know, an acidic state is a very oxygen deprived state, because acids destroy everything. You know, minerals like electrolytes, protein compounds, you know, think our whole structure is protein compounds. Oxygen, we totally rely on oxygen. Our cells need oxygen for vitality. Yeah, so acids just have this way, they poison water. We're made up mostly of water. So just oxygenating is part of the alkaline process. When you eat a lot of alkalizing foods, it results in a higher oxygen content. A lot of people are really into the greens powders and green juices for that reason. Yeah, the other thing that really helped me and helps and has always helped is the Alka bath salts from Dr. Jean. So these are crystals that are finely ground, and they're mixed with sea salt and baking soda to achieve a really beautiful pH, and it's actually one that is supposed to simulate the amniotic fluid of a healthy mother to be. So the amniotic fluid that we're all brought into this world in is, or should be, you know, ideally 8 to 8.5 pH. So we know anything over 7 is alkaline. 7 is neither acid nor alkaline, and anything below 7 is acidic. So coming into this world in this alkaline environment is really important, you know, especially if the mother is consuming any very like acidic foods and beverages, alcohol, you know, even one glass of red wine, it goes right into the fetus, you know. But the good news is, even though the fetus is not, we're not having bowel movements at that stage of development, we're not having, you know, we can't urinate to get the acids out. So we have one method, and that's the skin. So being surrounded by the alkaline amniotic fluid helps the fetus to eliminate their acids or toxins, so keeping the organism clean. And that's essentially what the Alka bath is doing too. So you can take long baths, it's recommended. The longer the better. They've tested up to 9 hours for some very ill individuals. They just have to refill the tub every few hours because it actually, the water actually becomes quite acidic. So the longer you soak, the more acids come out of your system. And you could take a pH strip and test before and after you soak, and you'll see that usually it's about 10 times more acidic by the time you come out. Now that's if you do it properly. So there's kind of like a whole lesson on how to use Alka bath, and I think I'm going to save that for a separate video. But essentially you just want to make sure that the water is body temperature and not hot. If you're using hot water for your salt baths, you're taking in the heat and you're not really letting your skin let out the acids. It's too busy taking in. So this is the Alka Pure by Pure Lab Vitamins, and this one has been such a lifesaver in like emergency situations where there's been a lot of pain in my body. I just take 3 capsules on a completely empty stomach. Has to be 2 hours away from food before and after. So for me, I just use it before bed. I know I'm not eating close to bedtime, and these, like yesterday, I forgot to mention, I just decided I would just have some juicy fruit all day. So I had some grapes, and then I did like a smoothie, and I did a proper smoothie, not with coconut milk or any almond milks. You know, we all started doing that, and that's not a traditional or what I call like a proper smoothie, which was done with just water. You could use maybe coconut water, but even that is pretty dense. You know, people can live off coconut water. It's more of a food, actually, in my opinion. So to keep it very light and to keep the ingredients in the smoothie just, you know, hydrating fruits and water was my goal yesterday, so that basically it was like I didn't eat anything all day. And when you fast, your body can heal itself at a rapid rate. So yeah, try it the next time you're sick. You know, there's a reason you lose your appetite. Try to just have some juicy fruits, if that, you know, and herbal teas, and you could do all of your little kind of fun things that I showed you today, like all your herbal medicines and things. But yeah, try to keep the eating right down. So what the Alka Pure is it's a combination of sodium and potassium bicarbonate and phosphate dibasic. So these are just molecules that your body uses naturally to neutralize acids, and that's basically what this is. This is just you know, a safe and desirable method to kind of just supplement, I guess, you know, for lack of a better word, supplement the alkalizing minerals that could come in and neutralize a lot of the acids and carry them out on its way out of your system. So it's just really beneficial. The formulator, Cyrus Kuzurani, he's a dear friend. He's a pharmacist from Germany. Amazing guy. He's bridging the gap between the pharmaceutical world and the holistic world by having, you know, more natural options for people who might have just gone to medication unknowingly, you know, that maybe they didn't realize that maybe there's a healthier remedy, something without side effects, without fatal events, without, just a lot safer approach, you know. So a lot of alkalizers on the market use sodium or potassium, but they often don't have the proper 1-to-1 ratio that could actually make it a little bit harmful. Well, it would be harmful for the long run, because it would throw off the kidney and adrenal pump, the sodium potassium pump. So a lot of you who may have studied nutrition and physiology and anatomy might know what I'm talking about there. Showed it earlier, the 7x7 tea, but yeah, sipping on that all day when you're in a really acidic state can be very, very helpful because it's highly alkalizing. So I hope you learned a little bit today. I know I like to go and dance around and tell stories in different circular patterns, but I hope that, what I shared could be useful to you on your journey. Lots of love, dear ones. Can't wait to see you again.